Welcome back to the Prepared Mind. Well. How are we doing today? I wanted to get back to some pressing domestic matters and shit hitting the fan. Got just a beautiful piece here. It's called We Are All Socialists Now. You know, I used to be saying you're a socialist is akin to saying you're a communist. It used to be to admit to being a socialist was political suicide. Now, it's a resume enhancer. Now it means you're in touch with what the people want. Now it means you have a heart. Stealing from some people to give to others means you're a good person. So you should do it, right? It is now morally, it's not just a moral decision, it's almost a moral imperative to be a socialist. How can you not be? Because, you know, it's such a good move. So, headline, the success of Bernie Sanders' 2016 campaign with his advocacy of democratic socialism was a unanimous sign of things to come. That's right. Bernie did such a great job coming out of the closet that other Democrats are going, well, shit, I got to run further left. I've got to promise more. I've got to give away more. I've got to take more from others and give more to others in order to be accepted as a good Democrat, right? To appeal and appease the stampede to the left that's being done by Democrats. Sanders has doubled down on his advocacy of democratic socialism. In a recent speech at George Washington University, calling for the completion of Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal of the 1930s. 1930s, 90 years ago? 85, 90 years ago? We're just now finishing up that program? Just in time for the Green New Deal. I mean, the programs put out by Franklin Delano Roosevelt have driven our country in debt. Social medicine, to the degree it's been implemented. Social retirement programs, as in Social Security, to the degree it's been implemented. It's insolvent. In other words, they're having to tax people at a greater and greater rate to pay for people who were born back when this was first instituted because they're alive. They want their checks. And we are in a socialist environment. Wow. While Sanders' chance of becoming the Democrat presidential nominee in 2020 is still uncertain, Trump has already indicated what is going to be a centerpiece of his election strategy, which is oppose socialism. At the same time, and I will criticize anybody, I don't give a fuck, Trump is saying, well, we're going to make sure that Medicare and that Social Security is sound. Right. Those are socialist programs. Those are New Deal programs. All Sanders is talking about, and all the Democrats, is increasing socialism. Now, I understand that before you can make a car go the other direction, you've got to stop, turn it around, and then go the other direction. So you have to oppose the new, but you also have to oppose what exists. You can't support it and say, well, we're going to keep going in this direction, but we're just not going to put any more passengers on the bus. All crazy stuff. You know, his claim, Trump that is that America will never be a socialist country. While I like that sentiment, we're already there. We're already there. You know, we have Medicare, we have Social Security, and the states are enacting more socialism. What is Obamacare? It is state mandated, socialized medicine. If everyone has to pay for it, whether it's administered by the government or a private corporation, which is the system we have now, it is socialized. In other words, people who aren't using health care are paying into a system, so that that system can pay for those who are sick and are paying. And if you don't pay, if you don't play, you will be penalized. More on that in a minute, right? These people are nuts. Why do I say they're nuts? Because the system has never worked in the past, and it's not working now. It's going broke more now, and it's causing our nation to go broke. So why do more of it? Hell, that's what insane people do. They continue to make stupid decisions and then expect everything to be all right in the end. You know, if we just had a little more poison in our system, everything would be just fine. In one of his most penetrating essays, How Communism Came to America, Chodorov incisively pointed out the long-term objectives of communism. Quote, among them are government ownership of land, a heavily progressive income tax, abolition of inheritance rights, a national bank, government ownership or control of communication and transportation facilities, state-owned factories, a government program for soil conservation, government schools, and free education. Soil conservation, you mean like buying back real estate, calling it national parks and federal land, and then kicking people off of it and not allowing them to use it? Yeah, that one does qualify. Government ownership or control of communication and transportation facilities. You mean like Amtrak? Like the government regulating so heavily the airline industries that the airline industries, basically, they get the profits, but they're told how to run it. And when it comes to communication, you mean like the CIA doing white papers and studies and creating what has become Facebook. And yeah, they did fund the government, Facebook, which is a massive social constraint system and indoctrination system and communication system, whereby if you're a good little citizen, you get rewards. And if you're a bad one, you get punished. Communication, right. You cannot communicate unless you communicate the way they tell you to. Sounds like, yeah, communism's here, just by a different name. Slightly different name, but in spirit, it's here. We are all socialists now, right? That's what these socialist Democrats say. And they're right. Our country is now being controlled. And Trump is barely opposing it. It seems to me he's opposing it for political reasons to get elected. So he's saying the words, but is he doing the action? And I have to admit, he got rid of Obamacare. But in California, I've got another story here we're going to read. In California, Governor Newsom, they're celebrating in Sacramento, which is the state capital, they're celebrating their success. They're going to pass a $200+ billion budget to pay for full coverage for health care for illegal immigrants. That's right. Criminals who have come here get free health care. Whereas a guy like me, oh no, you don't get it. You do not get it, John. And if you refuse or do not participate in the system, guess what John gets to pay? John gets to pay a $650 fine to the state of California if I do not have and participate in their healthcare system. Right? But what are Californians saying? It's interesting. Right? It's the politicians passed this, but even in California, the voters are going, wait a minute, we don't agree with this. Rasmussen Polling did a poll, and the answer was a resounding no, no way. To quote the article, no way, no how, nada. Right. Californians are like, what? You're taking our money and giving it to illegals while you punish us for not participating in your medical Ponzi scheme? Right? Force-fed mandates gag Americans. Yet politicians don't care. Why? Because they have a socialist mentality. It doesn't matter what the people want. The government knows best. And high-minded idealists like Bernie Sanders. I mean, when I think about these people, I'm just like, you should not. You aren't qualified to run a fucking ice cream stand. Not a whole shop, just a stand. I mean, what would he do? He'd give away his ice cream to everyone who had a sob story. He'd have no ice cream, no profits. He'd go broke in a day. Oh, it's hot, Mr. Sanders. Can I have an ice cream cone? Oh, geez, man. From those who have to those who need. Oh, man, I can't afford an ice cream cone. Oh, well, here you go. Have two. They would fail in the private sector. But no, they're in the public sector. In other words, they're in the government and they're spending your money, my money, our money, and giving it away. But the people are starting to say, no, we don't want this. But it's too late. We already have socialized medicine, government mandates, control of communication, right? Government schools. And they're wanting free college next. Free college. I think, in my opinion, our basic education system, which is K to 12, should have a point somewhere in high school whether it's freshman or sophomore year, maybe sophomore year. At the end of the sophomore year, you decide whether you go on and get 11th and 12th general education and go on to higher education, or whether it would be better for you to be educated, like in the old ROP, regional occupational program, right? In other words, learn a frickin' trade as well as get some general education, so that you can leave high school and go get a job and make a living and make this country prosperous and productive, rather than everyone thinking they're going to get a degree in some sort of liberal art, some sort of socialized, socialist, a degree in socialism. A degree, I mean, it's incredible. The degrees they give in school after you pay your money that they don't want to pay back. This is where we're headed. Back to California, the state's current crisis of reality is the highest poverty rate in the country. Yeah, California. The most profitable state, or the most productive as far as dollars created, or one of the most, competing with Texas and New York, has the highest poverty rate. No affordable housing, taxpayers fleeing to points east. That's right. There is an exodus from California. And vicious identity politics. We do have vicious identity politics. That's why I've been punished. Right? The only thing that allows me to live and continue is the very conservative area in which I live. Otherwise, man, I'd be castigated, if not castrated, if I was caught by those who don't like my opinion. Right? You're not allowed to think here. And to the list of Newsom's liabilities, the boilerplate individual health care plan of California starts with premiums of more than $5,000 a year. I can't afford that, because the vicious identity politics decided it would work against me and get me fired. That's right. You don't want to believe what they believe, they will punish you and still require you to pay $5,000 a year. So what makes more sense, that I pay $5,000 a year for their ridiculous healthcare program? Or should I wait till the end of the year and pay $695 in a tax penalty? Right? I mean, what makes more sense? Right? Boil it down in dollars. For those Californians who do not buy insurance, they will now be hit with a penalty of $695, or 2% of their household income, whichever figure is higher. Well, if you make, $1 million, 2% is $20,000. If you make $100,000, it's $2,000. So you can see there's a line here where it's like, what's better to pay? But if you're going to have to pay $5,000 a year, I would say any number up to $5,000, don't participate. But, it's a matter of perspective. For the left, socialism, we're all socialists now. So we need to start thinking and just accept it. Even if you don't like it, California, you elected these fools into office and gave them authority over your wallet and mine. And believe me when I say that this is going to come to the rest of the country. Up to and to the point where the country is put on its knees and it is basically assassinated, killed. It goes into collapse. This country is getting close to being smashed to its knees. Hopefully that happens before the rest of the country is penalized. And here's the thing. $5,000 a year, I don't have it. I used to, but I don't have it now. People are broke. We don't have the money to participate in these social systems, these socialist requirements. It is completely indicative of a system that is collapsing and will ultimately collapse. It'll collapse either on its own weight or because of what? Hyperinflation. Oh, well, we can just print more money. Well, great. Then everything loses its value and you have hyperinflation. Either way, toast. So what do you think? What's your opinion? Share these videos with everyone you know so that they can do what? So that they can, right, inform themselves and help inform others. Right? They need to get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Go to the preparedmind.club. Because, right, this matters. Because, we need We absolutely need to understand what's going on so that when it happens, when it all comes crumbling down, there are more people prepared, right, to take care of themselves. Chance favors the prepared mind. I know yours is, but out there, they're not. So get ready, have a plan. I'll talk to you guys again soon.